Hey friend, welcome to Pursuing Goals God's Way. Have you thought about finally starting that business now that your kids are older? Do you ever stay awake wondering how to mesh your passions into purposeful work? Do you have big, ambitious goals but feel overwhelmed or even unqualified to pursue them? Hey, I'm Gabe. Not too long ago, I longed for the confidence to start an online business. I just wanted to make a difference outside my home bubble using my gifts. But I kept telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I didn't know enough, and I didn't have enough time. Until I realized something huge. My kids need me to be their example, and they need to see me win. And yours do too. In this podcast, you will learn how to clarify your goals, plan with purpose, and ditch your distractions. If you're ready to make an impact and an income, all for the glory of God, then you're in the right place. As an avid runner, I believe life is one massive marathon. It's up to you to run your own race and to finish it well. So lace up those running shoes, pop in your earbuds, and let's do this thing. Have you said yes to too many things and filled your plate so full that it's about to burst? Do you feel like you have to say yes to every opportunity because you're afraid you're going to miss out? Maybe you have a little bit of FOMO, or maybe you're at a point in your business that you can't really say yes to everything without sacrificing the important things. Do you say yes to things you'd rather not commit to? Maybe you're like me, or recovering like me, where I'd take on everything because I felt responsible to do so, or I thought I had to. I was for sure a yes woman for a very long time. I still struggle with this. Someone asks me to do something, I would say yes and drop whatever I was doing to add it to my plate. Another opportunity comes up for business, and I'd say yes and figure out how to make it work, whether I thought it was a good fit or not, because I thought that's what would grow my business. I was afraid if I didn't, my business wouldn't grow. It would stagnate. Or maybe like me, you just like being in control and having a hand in everything. I like being in the know. I like knowing what's going on behind the scenes. So I became our booster club president for gymnastics back in Minnesota. And I said yes to being on the board of our local charter school. And I took on coaching roles, and I took on so many different roles, or helped out at the school, or whatever it was, because I like knowing what's going on. But at some point, there is actually a tipping point, a breaking point where enough is enough and you're no longer doing others a service or yourself a service by saying yes to everything that comes your way. Because if you say yes to everything, then you're no good at anything. Really, all you're doing is mediocre at every role that you have, rather than being really good at one or two different things. So let's talk a little bit about saying no. How do you politely decline opportunities? How do you say no nicely? I've learned to ask 3 specific questions before saying yes or no. Sometimes I'll, let me think about that, or let me check my schedule. If you're not ready to say no, but you're not sure you want to say yes, it's okay to kind of give a wait, right? But here are the 3 questions that I take into consideration. First, what capacity do I have in the season I'm in? Am I in a busy season? Do I already have too much on my plate to be able to commit to something else? Or maybe I'm in a season where I could take on something additional, but will that make me sacrifice sleep or sacrifice my well-being or whatnot? So what capacity do I have in the season I'm in? Number 2, will this bring me closer to my goals, or will it distract me from the priorities I have? Something that's important is to know what is most important, what are your priorities, and are those things that can get done if you say yes to this opportunity? Because if not, then it might be a reason to say no. Will this bring me closer to my goals, or will it distract me from the priorities I have? And number 3, do I actually want to do it? It's okay to ask yourself that. It's okay to go, you know what? I'm not sure I really want to do that. It doesn't sound fun to me, Or maybe you do want to do it. And even if your plate is full, it's something that would be a priority to you. And so you decide you want to do it, right? So those are the 3 questions. What capacity do I have in the season I'm in? Will this bring me closer to my goal, or will it distract me from the priorities I have? And do I actually want to do it? If any of those questions draw out a no for the ask, then I decline. And guess what? You don't owe anyone a reason for why you say no. So it is A-okay to say no without adding a because. I feel like sometimes we think in order to say no nicely, we have to give a reason and we have to draw out that reason and really explain ourselves so that they know, oh, we would have done it, but, right? But you don't need to add a but. You don't have to add a because. All you need to say is no, thank you. So let's talk about a few good ways to say no. Here are just a few. I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me right now. Or how about, thanks for reaching out, but I am unable to make that work. Or, thank you for thinking of me, but it doesn't sound like a good fit at this time. Or maybe even expanding it. Thank you for thinking of me. Though it sounds like a great opportunity, I'm sorry to say that it isn't going to work for me right now. So if you're saying no because you don't have the capacity or it's not the right time, but you really see it as a good opportunity down the road, then you can add something like, please keep me in mind for the future, or let's touch base again in the future about this. But don't feel the pressure to do so. If you know you won't say yes later, then don't drag it on and leave it as a no, thank you. If you tell someone you don't think it's a good fit, they may come back with a why not response. At that point, less is better than more. Take the emotion out of the equation and be matter of fact about it. You don't have to give them a reason, but you can feel free to answer if you'd like to. Maybe the why not is that you don't have the capacity for it right now. Maybe it is that it doesn't align with your priorities right now. Maybe it's not the right audience, so it really wouldn't be a good fit or productive for either of you, and that's okay. So feel free to give a little extra response if they come back, but don't feel like you have to. Now, before I let you go today, I want to talk about the 3 reasons saying no can be a good thing. 1, it sets boundaries for yourself. Saying no can help you set those healthy boundaries and establish your priorities. By being clear about what you can and cannot do, you can avoid taking on too much and becoming overwhelmed or resentful. Now, the resentful part, I have felt that when I've taken on too much and then I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I have to do this and this and this, and I have so much on my plate and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I did that to myself, but I feel resentful about it and I start complaining. If our attitude changes because of the roles we have, that is a ding, 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 something is wrong. Okay. So we need to evaluate that and we need to set boundaries. This can lead to better work-life balance and improved relationships with others. So that is one good reason to say no. The second reason is because it is respectful for yourself. When you say no, you are valuing your own time, your own energy, and your own needs. It shows that you are not willing to compromise your own well-being for the sake of pleasing others or fulfilling their expectations of you. That's the thing. You have to set your own expectations and you can't always live up to expectations of others. Or maybe you're thinking that their expectations are actually higher than they actually are because we do kind of put higher expectations on ourselves. So that's one of the reasons that we say yes all the time because we feel like we're supposed to, right? And so by saying no, you are respecting your boundaries and your limits. And this really can boost your self-confidence and your self-respect too. So feel free to say no if you need to, if for your own well-being. And the third reason it might be good to say no is just out of honesty and authenticity. Saying no can help you to be more honest with yourself and with others. It can be a good way to say, you know what? No, thank you. I just don't really want to do that right now, right? It can be tempting to agree to things just to avoid conflict or because you're a people pleaser. A lot of people say yes because they feel like they're going to let the other person down otherwise. But this can really lead to feelings of insincerity and disconnection. By being truthful about what you can and cannot do, you can build more genuine and meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Now, if you have a good friend or family member in need, I know that you would say yes to that, and that is okay. Sometimes we do have to add to our plate because of life circumstances, right? Because we need to be there for our loved ones. But we need to also be honest with where we're at and what we're able to do. So all in all, I'm just saying get good at saying no. Maybe even lead with no. because you can always go back and say yes later if you realize you do have the time. More opportunities will come your way. And I've found the more I say yes, the more asks I get. And that's because people know I'll say yes. It's not that they're trying to take advantage of me, but when we say yes, it's easier to keep saying yes, and people they start depending on you, and they know that you'll do it, right? So if you want to say yes, if it aligns with your priorities and you have the capacity for it, then say yes. If God is calling you to it and you know it, say yes. Sometimes his asks don't make sense or they feel overwhelming, but you will remain in his blessing and he will help you make it through if you are obedient to his ask. So that is one ask that I would absolutely always say yes to. Otherwise, let the rest go. So hopefully this helps you to know how you can say no nicely, reasons that you should. And again, if you want to say yes because it fits what you can do, it's in your priorities, then say yes. But if you know it's going to burn you out, if you know it's going to take away from your family, if you're not going to be able to work with your priorities, then get good at saying no. All right, that's all I have for you today. Can't wait to see you in the next episode. And in all things I pray, you just run your race. I believe in you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time and I hope you did too. Before we go though, make sure you follow the podcast on your favorite listening platform if you haven't already. If you resonate with this episode, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or share it with a friend, as this helps grow the podcast. Also, if you're not a part of Simplicity and Motherhood, consider joining us. It's a free online community built to provide support and encouragement so you can create balance and live intentionally as you go after your biggest goals, God's way. Head on over to redhotmindset.com for more resources and to find the link to join the community. In all things I pray, you just run your race. I believe in you.